I think now is a good time to start. Wishing all of you a very good evening. I am Prineet. I head the undergraduate admissions for UpGrad. I'm going to be the host for today's webinar of building tech careers in the US. We're joined here by three exceptionally talented fraternity members from the United States, talking about academia, careers, the tech economy in the United States, and what does it mean to do your MS in the US. We've got Cheryl, we've got Leo, and we've got Sohail. Sohail is the Senior Vice Chancellor for Student for and International Falls under his domain. Cheryl is the Director of International Student Enrollment Management. Leo is also one of the fraternity members of the Admissions and International Cell of Troy University. All three of them are going to be taking us through what it really means to do your MS in a tech domain in the US, and what does life look like after that. But what's more important right now is to understand that where's the world going from here, and how does the US market play such an important, imperative, inevitable role in shaping the tech economy across the world. And I must tell all of you, acquaint you guys with the fact that tech is almost 30% of the largest export services that the US actually does. And so it's a major chunk of the #1 economy in the world. So you can pretty much imagine that, the future of technology cannot not have US in it. Also, 117 companies out of the Fortune 500 are based in the United States. So, which makes it pretty clear that the US is your place to go if you want to study technology. I will also introduce UpGrad. UpGrad is South Asia's largest higher education organization. It's a tech platform. We're designing, developing, and delivering curriculum from some of the leading universities in the world, and bringing them online to ensure that education across the world is more internationalized, is more democratized, is more accessible, is more affordable. And one of our pioneer institutional partners is Troy University in Alabama. Sohail, Cheryl, and Leo are going to be talking more about it. I think my first question to them is going to be, I would love for one of you to talk about tech economy in the US, and why does it make sense for someone in India to do an MS now more than ever? Where are we going from here?
Well, let me take that, Praneet. I think, having been here for 35 years now, I've been at Troy for 35 years, and I will be very clear, I came from Bombay. They can change the name all they want, but they haven't changed the airport designation. When that happens, I'll buy into it. I look around my life every day, and everything is reduced down to this little thing and the computing power that comes with that. But that doesn't come just automatically. Humans are still inventing, are still writing, and humans are still creating code that facilitates all our lives. I mean, it is really strange when I pull into a McDonald's drive-through and I place an order through the little microphone or whatever, and the order is being taken by somebody in India and being punched into their computers so I can get served my Happy Meal or whatever. So the bottom line, tech is in everything we do. Just in the state of Alabama, I was in a workforce meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to have a shortage of 25,000 tech people that we will need in the next 4 years. By 2025, in the state of Alabama alone, we will need 25,000 new tech graduates, because we're trying to create a technology corridor. So what happens here is there's a shortage of input, right? I mean, for students to come out qualified, we need input. Until we get people in, we can't get them graduated. Until we get them graduated, they can't enter the workforce. So the good thing about studying in the US, obviously, #1 is opportunity. And when students come out of our program, I speak often, the guy who runs our computer program, Dr. Suman Kumar, originally from Bihar. In fact, I'm meeting with him tomorrow about some matters. But he tells me that our students get employed, gainfully employed by companies such as Google, Amazon, locally employed by companies such as Alpha Insurance. In fact, Alpha has always told me, if you have any computer science grads, we want them. The other thing is that also grads getting into applied engineering. They're trying to do the programming for machines. They don't build the machines, but they keep the machines running. So that is all technology based up here. In the US, I think, Prineet, you mentioned 30%, export. We're buying everything from, we buy technology from overseas. I mean, look at what Wipro and, everybody else is doing, what they're selling up here, how the back office processing is going up here right now. We are looking, even within our own institution, we are looking at some sourcing outside of the US right now, just for simple things as web creation, because of the price differentials. So the price differentials come into play. The labor market up here is really tight. State of Alabama, the latest report last month, we had 2.9% unemployment. Now, anybody who understands economics, I don't know how many of you are econ majors, 4% unemployment is typically considered full employment, because people are always between jobs. I'm leaving job A to go to job B. So I'm considered unemployed that month. So 4% is typical, but we are down to 2.9. So what that's doing is driving up the wages. So one of the questions somebody posed is, what is the return on investment? Well, why does tech matter? Well, if you can't hire someone, what do? You try to hire them. I mean, if you can't hire someone who's graduating out of college, you go try to find somebody in the marketplace already, and you're driving up the wages again. Well, who does that benefit? That benefits you guys who have a plan to come into college at some point, because you will benefit from those driven up wage markets. You've heard the minimum wage increase stories in the US. People at companies are doing it on their own, even locally. Locally, stores such as what is the store, TJ Maxx, or what is the other one? Just Hobby Lobby. Mm-hmm. Yeah, part-time jobs, they're paying over $21, $22 an hour. Now you can imagine what they will pay for technology. And I think that is where, when your question of return on investment comes in, I think it is really important to note that there is a payback. The payback depends on what field you go into. Arts and theology, etc., maybe not so much, but computer science and STEM fields, a lot of return. And the other thing I'd make, if I didn't tell, a lot of folks in India, like, where is Alabama? What are you all known for? Well, we're in the southern part of the United States. Our weather is amazing. Well, it does get hot, but it doesn't snow up here. So I think that is one of the benefits we find. And I think when Leo does his presentation, you will see some geographical locations. Leo, what are we, 6 hours from Disney World, 3 hours from Atlanta Airport? Important things in life. So when we come to that, I'm sure, Leo and Cheryl will reach some of those topics too. So thank you again. And, I look forward to further participation today.
Thank you so much, Sohail. My next question is, a lot of Indian students, those who are extremely brilliant in their fields or in the field of interest that they have, they're normally inclined towards doing a master's from one of the premier Indian schools called IITs, right? But I think during masters, what is also extremely important is the ecosystem of a country and how that reinforces what you're studying and what you're doing with what you're studying. So like you said, engineering, but also how are you making use or demonstrating applied engineering? How do you rate the US higher education ecosystem when it comes to comparing that with IITs in India? One, of course, I want you to draw an academic comparison, but two, I think During masters, what is extremely important is research and the environment, as in what all opportunities that you have that you can seize to put everything that you've studied in practice. And if that country has the right, not just the right tools, but also the right atmosphere, the right appetite in the market to take in new technologies and give out jobs in those technologies like virtual reality, cloud computing, so on and so forth. So how do you weigh the two?
It would be a mistake to even say that anything compares to the IITs. I mean, the knowledge banks at the IITs, the competitive level, the quality of students, I don't think any country in the world can compare with that. I think where the benefits we have today are the opportunities of funding and research. You know, you mentioned the term research. Well, research takes money, and research takes market-driven investment. And by market-driven investment, I mean, you need Microsoft, Google, Amazon to come in here and throw money at engineers to come up with projects. When you look at the projects such as the self-driven cars, the automated cars, et cetera, that are happening right now, or even, these bots that chat with us, they have come up out of need. I think at the IITs in India, I don't think anybody can compete with them, with the exception of a few elites that have a lot of research dollars, but that I would mean on the coast. Let's go back to maybe the Stanfords and the MITs. You got to get something, even New York Institute or Rochester, you would get something. But the ecosystem in the US, colleges count on a lot of funding. Universities are funded both by so we are a state institution, probably get about $60 to $70 million a year from the state of Alabama. But in addition to that, we also chase grant money, grant dollars. So for example, we just received a grant for about $22 million to do plastic recycling research, polymer research. So believe it or not, less than 2 miles from me is the world's largest plastic recycler. The world's largest plastic recycling plant is in Troy, Alabama. These guys are big, but they don't have a research department. So we got funding to do polymer research. Similarly, we apply for funding in different areas. So AI or robotics or anything that has, anything that I would say uses a dang microchip or computer chip or semiconductor chip, we hope to get into designing some of that, but more with the application side. So the ecosystem is very ripe because of the external dollars. But again, comparing it to the IITs, it's tough to say that anybody in the US, other than the two, maybe Stanford and I'm sure there are a few more, Stanford and the MITs would compare to that type of investment.
Right. So what you're largely saying, if I summarize that, is of course, academically speaking, you wouldn't rate them lower. But when it comes to research, when it comes to the atmosphere, when it comes to the environment in which you're going to be thriving after your degree, the US has much more money in terms of the funding, in terms of the market-driven investments, and companies willing to allow computer science or DS grads to work on things that are the future of technology. Yes?
It's one word, it's opportunity. The only word I can use is opportunity. That's it.
At this point, would love to let everybody know that a typical master's in the United States is going to be for 18 months to about 2 years. And what UpGrad has been able to pioneer as a model with Troy University and several other universities is that we let you do about 6 to 9 course credits in advance while you're still in India from IIT Bangalore, as with a program called Advanced Certificate Program in Data Science, which gives you an advanced standing into your MS Computer Science at Troy University. You do 10 months of the ACP, and you're saving close to about $10,000 in terms of living expenses, and your tuition fee. Besides, what you're also doing is you're easing yourself into the academic rigor. You're getting a good foundational sense of the languages involved that you're going to be studying in your MS degree. Plus, it sets you up for success. So you're getting a dual degree, Triple ID Bangalore, and from Troy University. Troy would give you an MS in computer science, whereas Triple ID Bangalore, which is India's #1 private tech school, would give you an ACP in DS for 3 lakhs of rupees. Against the 3 lakhs, you're saving almost 8 lakhs of rupees that you would have spent if you were to go early. Also, if you apply right now, there's hardly any chance that you get into the fall intake. So what happens is that you can defer to the next intake, which is spring or the next fall of 2023. So what we're doing is, while you're still in India waiting for that to happen, you existentially finish credits in advance, starting even right now. I would now introduce Cheryl and Leo to you guys to talk more about the program MS Computer Science and why does it make sense to do that in Troy. And while they speak of that, would also love for them to introduce Troy University to you guys. In general, I think Sohail has been exceptionally brilliant in introducing the tech industry in the US and why does it make sense now more than ever. And like he said, he would summarize in one word: opportunities. The US has that in abundance, in plenty. Many of the tech giants being there. So over to you, Leo and Cheryl.
Thank you. First of all, we'd like to welcome everyone. And I'm going to hand the major portion of the presentation over to Leo, who is our lead recruiter. You mostly would be dealing with our in-country Indian recruiter. Her name is Anandita, and she handles helping our students go from applicant to student. She'll help you gather your paperwork. She'll help you make sure that you have all your details correct so that you can slide through the process easily. So she unfortunately is traveling and busy with fairs in India, but you will get to know her as well. So the two things that I want to say about Troy, just the community aspect of it. Troy as a city is a small community, and it has been very beneficial to our Indian students because it is easy to get around the community. Transportation is not a problem. We have a shuttle that runs every day to Walmart. So you can get there and get what you need and get back to your dorm. And so there's just the safety aspect of it, the transportation, and then just the sense of community. During the pandemic, a lot of our Indian students were unable to get home. And we have a empty lot at the end of the campus. And the Indian students kind of commandeered it and created a cricket, do you call it a pitch? Cricket field. They were out there every day playing cricket during the pandemic because we have so much space. They were easily social distancing while enjoying some outdoor activity. So it was really sweet to see that, and just the sense of community that our international students have felt in the city of Troy and on campus has been very rewarding to watch and to experience. We have positive feedback daily from our international students that they've had a good experience here. They have felt safe here, even through some turbulent times in the United States. It's a very welcoming, warm, safe community. So we want to emphasize the fact that not only are you going to get a good education, you are going to get a good American experience. And I'm going to turn it over to Leo to talk more about the specifics of the admission process And then I will be back for the Q&A at the end. So Leandro?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for hosting this for us. It's a pleasure to talking to you and to your students. I have a presentation to share with you guys. Some of the information was already covered by Sohail and by Cheryl as well. Let me see if you guys can see my screen. I hope you do. Let me move this a little bit.
Yes, we can see it. Looks good.
You can see the screen. Okay, perfect. Well, as Cheryl mentioned, my name is Leo. I'm one of the recruiters here at Troy. Our in-country recruiter for India is Anandita Holder, and she will basically help you guys through the application and through the admission process. But here, I'm here to give you an overview of Troy. Maybe you don't know what Troy looks like. So we're gonna see a few pictures of campus, and we're just gonna cover some general information that you may want to know before coming to Troy, right? So let's move on to the next screen. So he'll cover this as well. I think during his part of the presentation. You know, Troy is located in the southeast of Alabama. We are very close to Florida, very close to Atlanta. Usually when the students come to Troy, they fly into Atlanta because it's so close, and then it's a short flight from Atlanta to Montgomery, which is the capital of Alabama, and then from Montgomery to Troy is about like a 40-minute, 50-minute drive. And we do have a shuttle that picks up the students from the Montgomery airport, so you don't have to worry about finding your way from Montgomery to Troy. You just let us know the day you're arriving, the time that you're arriving, and we can send a shuttle to pick you up. And yeah, as Sohail said before, we're fairly close to Disney World. If you want to go visit you know, Orlando and see Disney World, it is actually pretty cool. So yeah. When it comes to Troy, some general information that you may not know. We've been in the education field since 1887. So that's about like 130 years, over 130 years. And we have about 7,500 students on campus. Out of those, about 10% are international students. So we have students from over 70 countries here on campus, which you know, we like to call ourselves Alabama's International University, just because we have the body of international students that we have on campus. It is pretty massive. Here are some pictures that for you guys to see for you know, our campus. The heart of campus is what we call the main quad. What you see in the back is the School of Business, and to the right of the School of Business, that's what is the Math and Science building. That's where all our science, computer science, chemistry, physics, biomedical sciences take place. And as you can see, it's a very green, very beautiful campus. There's a lot of nature around. Students usually, you know, they hang out. You see activities all the time happening on campus. So, you know, while you're coming here to Troy to study, we also want you to have a good experience and have fun as well, right? Also, as you may know, athletics is huge at the college level in the United States in general. So we do have a basketball team. We also have a great football stadium. This picture that you see here is like pre-COVID. So, you know, like usually during COVID times, the stadium did not look as packed just because we had limited capacity for students. But this is usually what the stadium looks like on a normal year. And all these activities that I'm mentioning, you know, going to the football games or going to the basketball games and some other things that I'm going to mention later, they're basically free for students. They're all built into the total cost for the academic year. So you can attend all these events basically for free with just your student ID. We do have a dining hall. We also have a food court on the other side of campus, but the dining hall has a lot of like food options for students to take advantage, either from vegan to Asian food to more like healthy or classic American food. So there's a bit for everyone to enjoy at the dining hall. We also have a rec center. The rec center is this is pretty much a brand new and is state of the art. It has like machines to work out, has like indoor soccer, basketball. And again, this is all for students to take advantage when they're here on campus. And lastly, we have dormitories on campus. You know, this is what you see in the back is one of the dormitories that we have, is one of our newest dormitories. But we have like about eight to nine options for students to choose from. Some of them are more affordable, some of them are more expensive. So usually that we leave that at the discretion of the student if where they want to stay on campus, right? There are also like off-campus options for students to, if they want to stay off campus. We don't manage those options, but you know, if they want to talk to student services, they can provide some of these options for them.
Just wanted you to talk a little bit about the fee structure and scholarships as well. I just wanted to make sure that's part.
Oh yeah, that will be covered. Yeah. I'm just like, this is like a funnel. I'm starting from the big part and I'm just going down the funnel.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, and I just wanted to mention very quickly that, you know, this is the math and science building that I mentioned before. That's the main entrance. And I just wanted to mention really quickly the computer science programs that we have. Of course, we have an undergraduate computer science program for students, but at the graduate level, and this is something that maybe like going back to what you were mentioning before, what Sohail was talking about, the how big you know, tech is nowadays, especially in the United States. When I started here at Troy in about 2018, we had like the artificial intelligence program, the computer network and security program, cybersecurity, and the software development program. And in this like last 4 years, just because of the demand that computer science has, we added the video game design program, the distributed systems program, and the bioinformatics program as well. So all the computer science master's degrees have the same core classes, but then they can specialize in one of these areas, right? When it comes to the fees, mainly these are the total fees for one academic year. And we have ESL, we have undergraduate, and we have graduate. So I'm just going to focus on the graduate section because I think this is what these students are interested in. When it comes to the tuition, the annual tuition is $17,100, and this is for 18 credit hours. So this would be 9 credit hours each semester, which is the minimum they have to take to maintain their visa status. Then students, we have a student insurance, which is $1,800, and this is also for the academic year. Books and supplies, this is more like an estimate, you know, 1,300, give or take. Depends, of course, it's going to depend on the classes. Some books may be more expensive than others. And then the housing and living expenses. This is, I think Cheryl mentioned this. The living expenses here at Troy, they're like very affordable. This includes housing on campus for one academic year, and also a meal plan for the academic year as well. So for less than $9,000, students don't have to worry about housing or food at all, right? And the total cost for the academic year is $28,750. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in and let everybody know that the average cost is about $17K a year, which means $34K if you talk about the complete master's degree for 2 years. But surprisingly, with the UpGrad setup with Troy University, the IIIT, so your MSCS is going to be a 33 credits wide degree, 9 of which are given to you, granted to you in advance if you finish the IIIT B Bangalore course. What that does to you is that saves you at least 6 months of living cost, plus the per credit cost, which is about $950 USD into 9. So that's almost $20,000 that you were ending up, you know, with in savings. But also one of the most, you know, salient highlights about Alabama is that the regular living cost in the US is going to be about somewhere between 25 to 27,000 USD, especially when you're living in New York. So anywhere between 20 to 25, but Alabama, like Leo and Cheryl have been mentioning, is 13,000 USD a year. That's the stretched amount that you end up paying. So your entire master's degree in the US, if it had to cost you close to about 50 plus for 2 years, is now costing you almost under 35,000 USD. So you're almost hitting close to 20,000 USD, 15 to 16 lakhs of Indian rupees, and you get the same benefits. Leo is going to, of course, run you through what an OPT is and what actually happens, but your OPT for STEM degrees is going to be for 3 years. So you're spending half the money getting every other benefit that a regular student gets and a dual degree. And with the ACP that you do from IIIT Bangalore, you're all the more fortified and set up for success as an international student, because you're studying those languages way in advance at a, from one of the best tech schools in India. Leo, all yours.
Yeah, because it gets better from here. We still got the scholarship to talk about.
Yeah. So this is a scholarship for undergraduate students. I'm guessing none of these students will be undergraduates, so I'm just going to skip over this. For graduate students, we do have a scholarship. It will cover 50% of the tuition. The students, in order to qualify for this scholarship, they have to have basically a 2.5 GPA minimum out of the 4.0 scale that we use here in the United States. Of course, they have to be English proficient. This is basically a basic requirement to enter the any graduate program. And they have to have an eligible graduate test score, like in this case, only the GRE, GMAT, and MAT and MAT are for other programs. The GRE, if I'm not mistaken, is at 297. But also, if your GPA is high enough, the computer science program faculty may consider a waiver. Yes, so, but as I mentioned before, the scholarship will cover 50% of the tuition. That is roughly $8,550. So I'm just gonna go really quickly back to the cost section. And if you see, the total cost is $28,750, with everything included for one academic year. If you just add or discount the scholarship to that total, you end up with like about $20,200. So out of the total cost, that is about like 30% that you're just getting covered by the scholarship, right? So moving on. When it comes to English proficiency, what you see here on the right column, those are the scores that we require. Let it be IELTS, TOEFL, we accept the Duolingo now, or ITEP or PTE. Some of these are the most popular tests that students are taking, especially the Duolingo now. Since COVID, Duolingo really gained a lot of traction since you can take it from home. You basically need a working camera and a working microphone, because you're being proctored while you take the test, but you don't have to go to a testing center or anything like that. You get the results really quickly, and you can just report the scores to any university basically for free. So but anyway, we don't tell students which test to take. We just give them all the options, and they're free to take any of these tests, right? Then when it comes to the admission requirements, basically this is what we require for all international students. What you see on the left-hand side, that's only for undergraduates, so don't worry about that. The ones on the right-hand side, basically these are the requirements for graduate students to be admitted into Troy. The application fee, that's $50 for all students. It doesn't matter if it's undergraduate or graduate. Then we have, or we need your transcripts and diploma, either from your bachelor's, and also if you're taking already, in this case, master's level classes, we need those transcripts as well. As I mentioned before, English proficiency test scores, what we covered on the previous slide. Then the graduate entrance exam, as I said before, if your GPA is high enough, the computer science faculty may consider a waiver. If not, you will have to present this test. One recommendation letter is also required. And then when it comes to the financial section, we need a financial statement, a sponsor letter, and your passport. And this is just to issue your documentation so you can go get your student visa, right? Any additional documents could be required. Usually these are just like the basic requirements, and But anyway, if there's anything else that we need from you, we will let you know. So don't worry about that. For now, these are the main documents that you have to focus on.
We have a question.
Yeah.
There's a student who wants to know, Leo,
Yeah.
that if he does not have a computer science undergraduate degree or did not have computer science in his grade 12, can he still participate in the program? So I
Absolutely.
reaffirm and repeat that a BE grad, a BTech, or a BSc in IT and computer science or a Bachelor of Computer Applications can only apply to the program. I'll still let Cheryl take this, but you have to be from the CS or IT background as far as the advanced certificate program criteria.
Through the program.
Yes.
Yes.
Add something?
You can come in without a computer science background to the MSCS program. You probably would end up taking about a year of foundation courses. Dr. Kumar likes his students to be prepared, and so there are about 5 or 6 courses that he would demand that you take before you enter the master's program. So you can come to campus, you cannot go into the master's program until you get those foundation classes.
Thank you, Cheryl. Largely what we also need is, while you have a BE or BSc or BCA or BIT degrees in India, we need a 60% grade in them for you to be able to enter into Troy. Would also go back to Cheryl and Leo and ask if there's any maximum number of backlogs that these kids can have if they're applying, or if there's no tab on backlogs per se, as long as they graduated with 60% marks.
Right. Right. We try to not look at backlogs because the system in the United States is set up similar in that we like to give our students chance after chance after chance. And so it's not so much the grade, it's the skill, especially in computer science. So if the student has achieved the skill, even if it took him 7 times, he still has achieved that skill, and we're still going to let him go on and learn more.
Got that. Also, I think would love to reiterate the part that GRE is not a requirement when you go through the UpGrad program. GRE is largely for you to demonstrate how ready are you academically to pursue a rigorous master's course internationally. And so when you do the advanced certificate program from IIT Bangalore, we need a 2.5 or above GPA on a scale of 4, which is what we need for you to exhibit your excellence in the field. The advanced certificate program allows you to specialize in deep learning or natural language processing or business analytics or business intelligence or data engineering. So you're going to be learning machine learning. You're going to be doing a lot of data programming languages like Python, SQL. So which means you're all the more ready and all the more set up for success. So GRE is not required anymore, which is again something that is a plus point with the UpGrad program. Leo, you mentioned about the scholarships. Can you delve a little deeper into how do they get scholarships? And for UpGrad students who are coming from IIT Bangalore, how much GPA do they need to have, or how much academic excellence do they need to demonstrate for them to get a 50% waiver?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, let me go back really quickly to that slide. So this information is for students who finished a bachelor's degree, and then they're starting a master's degree at Troy, right? So they need that 2.5 on the bachelor's degree and 4.0 English proficiency, and then as you mentioned before, the graduate test score, that it is waivable, and they can receive this 50% scholarship, right? So this scholarship is what we call an admission scholarship. Students will send us, all the admission documents. The recruiter will receive it, in this case, Anandita, and then she will send those documents to one of our evaluators. And then the evaluator at that point will determine not only if the student is admissible to the program, but if the student can qualify for this scholarship. So whenever we send the admission email to the student will be notified if they can receive the scholarship. They will receive the admission letter and the scholarship letter. And on the scholarship letter, they will have all the information they need to go ahead and apply. And it works kind of like a formality, actually, because if the evaluator determines that the student can receive the scholarship, basically they just have to go onto our website, complete the scholarship application, then we will receive it on our end. And then they will just see basically the scholarship applied to their bill whenever they get to campus and they register for classes.
And it is a formality, but it is also a very important formality.
Yes, they have to do it.
The student has to take action and complete the application for the scholarship, go into that scholarship portal and complete all the necessary paperwork. It will not automatically show up on their account. They have to be proactive and go in and fill out that application.
Got that. So when you send the I-20, is the scholarship amount going to be mentioned there?
Yes.
Got that. So which means they're going to be pre-informed
Correct.
to paying the fee that here's how much scholarship they've got. So for these students, you'll be factoring in the bachelor marks, the triple ID Bangalore marks, the IELTS scores, and everything else that is actually imperative to show their academic standing. Yes.
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 And is there something else that so for any student here with us who's planning on directly applying to Troy or who's planning to come through Triple IDP Bangalore, what else do you advise them apart from academics to be able to seize these scholarships?
Okay, so this one scholarship, what you see here on the screen, that's basically what they need. Again, it is an admission scholarship. It's totally based on their GPA, and in this case, as I said before, the GRE is waivable. Some programs don't waive the GRE or the GMAT or the MAT, so some students will have to take that. But in this case, again, if we can waive the GRE for the student, they don't need that. They just need to be English proficient and have the correct GPA, and they basically can obtain this scholarship.
And we do have, Leo has on here graduate assistantships. We do have GA positions available. They are pretty competitive. You have to apply for them. But here in the international office, we try to hire international students if we can. I've got a GA right now, Saitasia, from India, and he's a computer science major. And so we have tasked him with working on the international web pages to update them, to make them look better. We're trying to capitalize on all his skills. And then we add another language in our office so we can speak to students. If English is a challenge, then we do have some options. And Saitasia this summer is taking one class, and he's got his GA position here. And then he also is working on campus for Sodexo. So he's helping both his tuition and his living expenses all right here on campus, which has been a great benefit for him.
So what Cheryl is largely implying is that there's a lot of part-time work on campus, one of which is graduate assistantship, second or third of which you can work on the library, work on the cafes, work in the international department, work as a student ambassador. There are 100 things that you can do inside the campus and pretty much take care of living expenses. With living expenses that low, I think anybody who's working part-time can take care of them.
Right.
So pretty much, I think what you're spending or putting in and what you're yielding has a major difference. You're going to be making almost thrice or four times the amount of money that you're putting in your MS degree. My question, Cheryl, is so I'm starting to jump from where we are to where I'm going to take this. In a world where everything is hyper connected, you've got artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, cloud computing, virtual reality, all of these. Do you think the MS Computer Science is that one degree that will actually set a good foundation for them, or should they be looking at degrees such as uh, an MS in DS, or an MS in analytics, or an MS in artificial intelligence, or MS in cybersec? Why do you think that computer science is one of the more basic foundational degrees that uh, can pretty much get them anywhere that they want to switch to?
Right. Um, I've been doing some research on technology in the classroom, and all of the research that I am finding is indicating that in the US, our children are just not prepared for what is coming in the world of technology. We are behind in educating our students because the workforce demand is moving toward heavy technology based. And the research says that jobs that the students, and let's say secondary students, high school students, the jobs that they will take when they enter the workforce, some of them have not even been created yet because the technology has not been demanded yet. And so with, the fourth dimension kind of opening up, there are all these artificial intelligence opportunities that we can't even plan for, can't even comprehend, that in 10 years may be a normal. So the field is exploding in the United States. And I would say, although we're one of the largest consumers of technology, we definitely are not on the cutting edge of technology development like some of our Asian and Indian counterparts. So not only do we want you here so that we can share our education with you, but we also are going to learn from a lot of what I saw in my brief trip to India right before COVID started. Before COVID started, there are things that are out there that, as an adult in the United States, I had never come in contact with. So this area is going to explode in the United States in the next decade.
Which is why
and they're going to pay the person that can do it.
Got that. So you're saying computer science is more universal that way and can pretty much set them up for anything that they would choose even after a few years.
Yes.
And I think you're very right when you say that the tech industry is pretty unprecedented, unfathomable when it comes to what happens in the next 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years and where it may go from here. So I think computer science would at least equip you with the programming tools that you need to design or at least operate with any of these technologies in the near future. Leo and Cheryl, I think now is a good time to talk about how are the career progressions like, and how much is an average Troy MSc as grad going to be paid like should they get employed? So which companies largely recruit and which kind of roles are there?
Well, I'll add one point and then I'll let Leo finish up. I just pulled up an article today that said the average return on investment for a master's degree in the United States is about $83,000. But if you're in the computer science industry, the return on that investment is $500,000. That's how computer technology driven our economy is becoming. We're sitting on the precipice of another industrial revolution.
$500,000.
Yes, can you believe that?
Prineet, I think it would be important to point out that while opportunities are available, it is what you do and the networking an individual actually engages in is that's going to open the doors. By that, I mean that while you're in school, you need to be planning for, in fact, in these students' cases, when you get here, you need to be planting that seed, working with your professor, seeing if there are internship opportunities available. And the reason for that is I would rather hire somebody I know, right? And I know is capable of doing the job, but more important, has the work ethic. You know, we know that people will come to work at 5 in the morning, go home at 10 at night. We don't know what they do between 5 and 10, right? We don't know if they're playing on Facebook or they're playing games or they're actually working. So you have to show your employer. You know, salaries range. I mean, I just had an undergrad student just tell me the other day with a degree in risk management. She got a job at $85,000, you know, starting out. I know people in computers that are starting out at $52,000 with a master's. Again, it depends on the individual person, but more so, it depends on the region they work in. So when you go to work locally and you are paying $500 a month to live, and then you go to New York and you're paying $3,000 a month to live, you know, you got to make $36,000 extra in New York just to pay for that apartment. Absolutely. And God forbid you have a car. You know, I mean, you can't even have a car up there because what it costs to get a parking spot in New York or in LA is more than what you would pay for your house up here. It's crazy. So when you look at job offers, when you look at the Silicon Valley or you look at New York, you should always be mindful of the context you're looking at it in. Affordable, not affordable. In today's world, we've got another challenge, and it's called transportation. It's called $7 gas. I mean, I know in India, we used to paying those prices. I don't know what is petrol, about 106 rupees or 108 right now. Yeah, we are pretty much coming pretty close to it right now, where we are paying, well, it's come down a little bit, but we are still in Alabama, we're still in the fourth. We're still at $4.37 a gallon. Whereas in nationally, you're sitting at $4.80, and California, you're looking at $6.50. So that's a very basic example of cost of living. But look at gasoline alone and look at what it's doing. So, you know, the context as to what they're going to get paid is going to be up to the individual.
Yeah, I think largely my objective is only to make them pretty equipped with, you know, facts as what kind of jobs are they going to end up in. Of course, the pay range, the pay scale, the pay rates will largely differ, and also make sense because you're living in a place where expenses are pretty nominal. And so you may not get paid that much compared to New York or California. But what kind of roles can they expect to get after they do a computer science degree?
I think you'll get into you could get into jobs that way. You could be a computer, you could be a systems analyst, you could be a data analyst, you could be a programmer. Now, all these programmers, I think programmers are just watching or teaching artificial intelligence how to do work nowadays. It looks like you got so much being done by the systems that, you know, they're guiding the systems to create all this stuff. We've got some people going into gaming. We've actually got students with a computer science degree going into gaming, and I don't know, like, I don't mean what is it, Fortis or whatever, you know, games that are more designed to teach, etc., not just play and go kill people on the computer. You know, those are games I don't play, but I do look at some games that are intelligence-based games and that are, you know, simulations, and a lot of our kids are going into that now.
Right. So we're looking at software development, data
and applications, development and applications.
Got that. And if you're looking at a software engineer or a computer science developer, whether it's front end or back end, how much are they normally paid up there?
In our region, probably in the I'd say in the 50s, 60s with a master's.
Got that. And can they also look for employment outside of the state?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, you can look for, I mean, a lot of our kids go into the Atlanta area where they have family, or, you know, some of them desire to go to bigger cities. A lot of kids go off to Texas, Houston, Dallas. You know, I mean, people are going to where companies are going. For example, Tesla, they've moved to Texas. So people are going to follow people like Tesla to Texas.
Got that. Largely, I think I just want everybody who's here to know that the US normally pays anywhere between 65 to 100,000 USD a year for tech jobs. Of course, like Sohail mentioned, that depends a lot on the context of where you're going. I mean, which part of the US you're in, how are the expenses there, how is the normal economical stance there, and accordingly, your pay rate or pay scale is largely discerned. But what I have in front of me as your possible career progression is going to be a front-end developer, a web developer, software architect, software engineer, a Java developer, and a data engineer or an analyst. Because remember, right at the onset of the course, you're doing a IIIT Bangalore advanced certificate program in data science. So you're pretty equipped that way. Also, I think would love for Cheryl to talk about the different majors that they can pick up if they do a MS in computer science. So what specialized fields can they pick up, Cheryl?
Leo, can you go back to that slide?
Yeah, I think Leo had that on a slide. Artificial intelligence, bioinformatics.
So, yeah, I think there's 6. Oops,
Yes, there are six.
Yeah. 7. 3, 7. Artificial intelligence, bioinformatics, computer network and security, which is what you were talking about, computer network development, things like that. And that security versus cybersecurity, which really works more in conjunction with law enforcement, FBI, government agencies, things like that. And we do have several courses that are drone based. So it's unmanned operation on and on, but it's basically using drones to recover either lost or deceased persons, to look at, to spy, to do those kinds of things. Distributed systems, I have to be honest, I'm unfamiliar with that, and that is one of our newer programs. Leo might have a little more background on it. And then software development, like you talked about. And I do know that educational technology is a big area where they're wanting more software development in the US. I think our educational institutions they realized they were behind the 8 ball when COVID hit and we had to go to virtual education. I think that was a large wake-up call. And so educational technology has become a very hot topic in the US. Video game design is always going to be very big. We've had students who have worked with Microsoft in video game design, and have, although they work remotely, they live in larger areas. And so just like, Sohail mentioned one price point and Prineet mentioned another price point, all of that really factors into where you are in the US. I choose to live in Alabama because the cost of living is much lower. If you want to live in California, be prepared to pay prime rates. You can own a home in Alabama, 3,000 square foot for about $325,000 US dollars. That sits on a piece of property that gives you freedom to move around. Whereas you go to New York City, you're going to get about a 900 square foot apartment, and it's going to cost you about triple that. So when you are taking a job, my caution to you is be aware of where that job is. If they're offering you $60,000 in Troy, Alabama at CGI, we have a big computer graphics company here that hires a lot of our graduates. If you have to weigh that against the $80,000 job at Facebook in California, because those two things are not equal. It looks very appealing to get that $80,000, but you're going to turn around and spend it all on transportation, on utilities, on rent or purchase of a home. Food is even more expensive. I mean, all those things you really have to factor in. So just be aware. And I don't know if that is true of India, but in the United States, there is such a large gamut of cost of living. And so you just have to be aware.
Absolutely, yes. I think that is true for most of the world. Would love to ask Leo or Sohail or yourself, which of these majors do you actually recommend keeping in mind for someone who's very open to trying out these? What makes sense economically at this point? I for sure know bioinformatics and artificial intelligence and cybersec are three of the most sought after fields across.
Those are the two I would have mentioned, yes.
Have I missed out on video game design or software development? But at least I know the pulse of what India thinks like, and I know what I think like as a human being, that artificial intelligence, cybersec, because, with the Web3 and the fifth industrial revolution now happening, I think cybersec is more important than anything else right now.
I agree.
So like we mentioned in the beginning, that computer science is actually that foundation then that can set them up for any of these fields.
Yes.
Got that. Rohit,
the good thing is you may come to Troy and think, I am going to go into cybersecurity, and the second semester you're thinking, I really don't like cybersecurity, I'm going to go into artificial intelligence. The good thing about that computer science degree is that the foundation courses are very similar. And so if you get here and you spend your first semester, you can change your major. You're not married to it. And so you can easily say, this is just not for me. I want to go back to video game design. So don't feel like you're going to have to come over here and declare your major and you have to live with it. You really can kind of dip your toe the first semester at least and have conversations and talk to students who are in the different programs, talk to alumni who have graduated with the different programs and degrees, and see where it is you want to go and how to best get you there.
Absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think for all the attendees here, UpGrad gives you that unique edge that you do your ACP in DS from IIIT Bangalore. Once you have finished your certificate, that data science intensive course can get you in at least 7 or 8 different universities in the US. Troy is one of which I really recommend for CS. But we've got several more universities that can get you other courses as well. But I think what Cheryl mentioned makes absolute sense, that computer science is that gives you that leeway that you can actually come explore and see what you actually fit into and where is it that you finally want to specialize your education and experientially and in terms of academia. The entire cost of the degree then with UpGrad comes down by almost 15-20 lakhs of rupees when you keep in account both the the fee of the university, the academic fee, plus the living expenses. So which is what UpGrad has largely been advocating, that now it's more affordable and accessible to study in the US than ever before. You get a 3-year work visa, you get likely almost 50% scholarship. So you're practically studying for an amount that is going to come back to you within 6 months. Like Cheryl mentioned, average international student will make at least $500,000 USD. Typically, so I think in the next 5 years after you graduate, you can almost make that much amount of money, which means that it's all the more worth it. And of course, computer science, I think Cheryl and Leo would agree with me here, is a future-proof degree. I don't think it's anywhere else. Leo, Cheryl, Sohail, anything else that I may have missed for our students?
No, something that I wanted to add really quickly, just going briefly back to what you were asking about, what degree makes sense for students. As you said, artificial intelligence or maybe software development are some of the degrees that students gravitate the most towards. But what I mentioned at the beginning, video game design, distributed systems, and bioinformatics are degrees that are new degrees that, again, they've been added to the program recently just because of the demand that there is for these programs. And quickly, distributed systems, again, I know Cheryl mentioned this, I'm a business major, I'm not a computer science major, so it is not my expertise, but in a nutshell, and this is something that, if you have any students interested in any of these programs, they can definitely reach out to Dr. Kumar. He'll be more than happy to talk to them and to guide them through the courses and through the classes they'll be taking. The distributed system, I think it has more to do with like software being in like a single software being separated in different components and working through different computers into one more efficient system instead of being in a single computer. That's pretty much in a nutshell, but again, I'm not an expert in this topic, so I'm sure Dr. Kumar can expand more on this. And one little thing I wanted to mention before I close the presentation and we go back to being on full screen, we briefly mentioned this as well. Students, we do have job opportunities for students on campus while they study. They can work up to 20 hours a week, and they can. We have different things available for students to do on campus. Cheryl mentioned we have one of our students working at Sodexo, which is our dining hall, but we have like many different job opportunities for students on campus. We also have, again, graduate assistantships. These are limited, so we have new ones opening up every semester, because we have students graduating all the time, of course. And at the end of their degree, students can do like OPT, which some of you may be familiar with OPT. I know, Prineet, you mentioned this at the beginning. OPT means optional practical training. Students can opt to do this for up to 1 year with basically any degree. If the degree is in the STEM field, which computer science is, they can do 2 extra years, basically, so they can do like up to 3 years of OPT to gain job experience here in the US. And again, something that I believe was mentioned before, they don't have to restrict themselves to working somewhere here in Alabama. OPT can be done, Sohail mentioned like in Georgia, Texas, Florida. So once they finish their degree, they can opt to do again up to 3 years of OPT, which is a great opportunity for students to gain a job experience. And I'm gonna stop my presentation. We can go back to being on full screen right now. Let me. Okay. And thank you for listening to this quite long presentation, but I'm just gonna hand it back to you, Prineet. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, Leo. I think we've pretty much spoken about everything. I just would request everybody here to write to me on prineet.singh@upgrad.com. I'm just going to put that down on the chat box. For any questions that Leo, Cheryl, myself, or Sohail may not have been able to answer for you, if there's still something left unanswered, please write to us.
I love the will we get Indian food question. Yes. There is a large Indian market in Montgomery, which is about 45 minutes. And our students either will take a group trip up there or they'll send someone up there to gather what they need and bring it back. But it is run by an Indian family that relocated to the United States. And I have been able to find everything I could find in India here. So be encouraged. There is a true Indian entire market. It's its own grocery store.
There are Indian restaurants in Montgomery as well,
Yes.
which again is like a 40-minute drive from here. It's not that far.
Mm-hmm. Great butter chicken.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll help them reinforce their decision of going to Troy, because
Yeah.
some of these things are really important to Indian students.
Absolutely. And we understand.
We may joke about this, but I think food is extremely important for anyone trying to move to a different part of the world. I think
Yeah. Yeah. I have traveled the world and I always try to hit a McDonald's.
no, I get that. Rohit wants to know, can we get vegetarian food? Yeah, of course we can. I've lived in the US pretty long enough to know that, or to affirm that they have all kinds of vegetarian food. I think we've pretty much addressed everything from admission criteria to progression to academia, everything. I just want to thank Cheryl, Leo, Sohail for your constant support here. Would love to redirect any questions that we have. I think Troy's MSCS is going to be a huge success for these Indian students. I'm sure it's going to do wonders. Again, super grateful to the two of you to be here.
Thank you. We are
Yeah,
as
thank you.
well. We look forward to this partnership, and Sohail sends his regards. He had to head off campus for another meeting. So thank you, Prineet. Thank you for facilitating this, and let us know if we can help.
Absolutely, yes. You know, what normally happens after each webinar is that these guys send a stream of doubts, concerns,
Sure.
questions that they have for you. So I am going to be passing them on to you
Perfect.
for you to answer. And I'll also make sure that the counseling team does a great job. So, you know, if you're interested to study in the US with us, please feel free to write to prineet.singh@upgrad.com. I'll get a counselor connected with you, and we will help you pick up Troy and pick the right majors for yourself, pick the right courses for yourself across the US. Thanks again, Leo and Cheryl. I wish you a
Thank
good
you.
Thank you.
day.